welcome back to my channel, or welcome to if you're new here. So today I want to talk about a story time. I really want to share this story with you guys because it's something that was a pivotal moment in my life where I stopped doing something that it wasn't really positive in my life. I know it can be for other people, but for me personally it's not. And it's also like funny for me to think back on now. And I also hope at the same time as it being maybe a little comical and maybe providing some light on this, but I hope maybe if you are questioning if this is something that you want to do, that maybe this will bring some awareness of what could happen, because this scared me and I have not touched weed or any form of weed like ever again from this situation. So I don't remember how many years ago this is now. It had to at least be 3 years ago. So my friends and I, we all got together and we were gonna just have a girls' night, a night that we haven't had in a while. And weed is legal in Canada. It's been legal for a while. So my friend actually went to one of the dispensaries and got shatter chocolate. So it's just like a chocolate bar. But we literally got it from a dispensary. It's not like somebody went out and got it from some sketchy person. This was from a legal weed store. So at this point in my life, I used to smoke a fair amount. I had been smoking it for a while, and this was just my first time trying shatter chocolate. Now, before when I'd smoke weed, I didn't really so much enjoy it. I'm a very upbeat and energetic person, so smoking weed really brings me down, and I feel like it was more just like a social smoking thing. I had tried like a few edibles and I didn't really like how they made me feel, but apparently shatter chocolate was different or whatever. So we were all getting together and we were having this bar of chocolate. I think I had 4 squares, and I learned after apparently there's like 80 milligrams or something in each square. Don't quote me on that. That's what somebody else told me after the fact. I didn't see what was on the chocolate bar or anything, but when I told this story to somebody else, that's what they said to me. But I had the least amount out of everybody there. And there was another girl who was definitely smaller than me, and she had like way more than me. We had some, we were all laughing. I don't know how much time had gone by, but I started like feeling how much my stomach hurt because I was laughing so much. In my head, I started thinking like, why am I laughing so much? Like my stomach hurts. I don't even know what we're laughing about. So I kind of like took a step back and I started listening to the conversation around me. And that's when like the panic started to settle in. Nobody was talking about the same thing, but everybody was agreeing with each other and everybody was laughing. And I'm literally like feeling like I'm about to hyperventilate because I'm looking at everybody like, oh my gosh, they have no idea how messed up they are. Yes, I totally agree. Horses are quite literally the greatest animal ever. I personally think horses are my spirit animal, and they're just the greatest thing. They're like so strong. Like, don't you agree? Don't you think horses are like the greatest thing ever? Yeah, no, I totally know what you're talking about. I do agree. Summer is probably the best season. And I also too would like to go to Mexico. I think you proposed a great idea and we should plan that for this coming March. You know, I don't think I can agree with your political stance on strawberries, but I do think checkers is a great game and we should play that. I do agree with you with that. We should do that. Oh my god, yes, I do remember that movie. That was such a good movie. I think we went to theaters to see that one, right? Nobody had any idea what was going on. Nobody had any clue on how messed up they were, and that was making me panic. I felt like I'd never felt this feeling before. I had never had a panic attack. I felt like I needed a paper bag to like breathe into. And like I got up and I went to sit on the couch and everybody around me was like looking at me like, Heaven, are you okay? And I'm like, does anyone have a paper bag? They got me a plastic bag, which really wasn't doing the same thing. And everybody was staring at me and it was like, okay, you guys just do your thing, have fun. Ignore me, because if you guys start worrying about me and you guys start panicking, that's gonna make me panic more. So like, just forget about me. I'm okay. I'll figure this out. And I was trying so hard to like control my breathing. And meanwhile, all I'm thinking of is like, I need to call an ambulance. ambulance. Like I actually feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack and like I can't breathe. And in my head, I was thinking, if I call an ambulance, they're gonna stick an IV in my hand. And I shit you not, I laid down on the couch saying, okay, I guess I'm dying. I am not getting an IV in my hand. I'm not good with IVs. I'm not good with blood work. I don't know, something about it, I just can't do. It makes me faint. It makes me very anxious. I have no problem with needles, but the second it's an IV or blood work, something about it I just can't do. So I literally laid on the couch like, okay, I guess I'm dying. Because I did not want an IV in my hand. I literally just chose death right there. So I remember laying on this couch and I felt like I was like out of my body. Like I kept putting my arms around me and I felt so small. Like when I hold myself now, I feel, I don't know, thick. I don't know, I don't feel tiny, but when I held my arms, like when I held myself, I felt so small. I felt way smaller than I actually am. And I felt like I wasn't really laying on the couch. I kind of felt like I was floating a little bit. Everything felt really, really strange and really, really weird. And I remember the way that I was facing on this couch, there was a balcony and there was a happy birthday banner over the balcony, or over the door to the balcony. And it wasn't anybody's birthday, but that sign was just left up. And I remember staring at it. And I was staring at this happy birthday sign for so long that I actually forgot who I was. And I was trying to think about like, what is my name? And I couldn't remember my name. And I started to think like, who am I? And then I started to think like, where am I? And I was looking around the room and I could not recognize anything around me. And this was also my first time at this apartment, so I really wasn't in a familiar setting. I was with people I had known for 7-8 years and that I had been close with for that long time frame, but I was not in a familiar environment because this was a new apartment. And then I started listening to everybody's voices and I could not recognize who they were. These are people that I spent nights and days with. We would go and take week vacations out to Wasaga Beach. We would hang out like every single day or weekend. Like I knew these girls like no tomorrow. I knew everything about them and I could not recognize who they were. I couldn't think of their names. I started to feel like I was in a room full of strangers, and that really made me feel even more panicky. And I was trying to think of things that would remind me of who I am. I was trying to think of things that would remind me of just anything, because the fact that I couldn't think of their names, I didn't recognize them, I didn't recognize their voices, the fact that I didn't recognize myself, I didn't know who I was, it's like I need to think of something that's gonna remind me of like who I am. Like I feel very confused and disoriented and lost right now. And I started to think of, I don't know why, but the one person that I had been hanging out with the most in the last, I would say 3 years. Her and I aren't friends anymore. And I think I talked about her in a different story time. I don't remember the name I gave her, but I started to think of her. And I think it was because she was the most prominent person in my life. And then I felt like this jabbing pain in my heart, and it like radiated through my body because her and I weren't friends anymore. And I just felt like so much pain. And it's like, okay, I couldn't pinpoint her name or anything, but I know now who I was thinking about, which is weird. But in that moment, I couldn't really pinpoint it, and it hurt me to think of her. So then I tried to think of somebody else, and the guy I was seeing at the time, him and I also weren't together at that point. And he was the only other person that I could kind of think of, and I know who I was thinking of now, but in that moment, it was like super faint, which is weird that those two people I could kind of think of, but I couldn't even think of who I was, which is like the weirdest thing ever. And that sent like that achy pain throughout my whole body as well. So I was like, okay, I'm not thinking of any more people because like I don't like this feeling. It felt like something, like a pain bomb exploded in my body, and it just like sent this weird feeling of sadness and like hurt that I felt throughout every limb and my bones. It was the weirdest thing ever. So I stopped thinking about them, and it's like, okay, I don't know what to do to make myself remember who I am. I feel like I need to do that. And I just kept laying there, and I don't know how much time had passed, but it felt like time was moving so slow. I just wanted the night to end. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking of like going to the gym and going to the job that I worked at. And I started to think of driving and my apartment. And I just started thinking of like my regular life that I actually live. And in my head, that got distorted. And I started to think that I was an addict, laying on this couch, and that all I do is lay on this couch every day, and that this life that is my actual real life is fake, and that I don't actually live that life at all. Which is such a weird thing to but in that moment, high on shatter chocolate, I thought that's what my life was. Injecting heroin or whatever, and living a regular life. And that all I actually do is lay on this couch and stare at this frickin' happy birthday sign day in, day out, that I don't actually have a job, that I don't actually have a car, that I don't actually leave this couch. I thought I literally laid on this couch every single day of my life. I couldn't remember my childhood, I couldn't remember anything, and all I could think about was living a regular day-to-day life, going to work, going to the gym, seeing your friends. I thought I injected drugs to go live that fake life, when in reality that was my real life. And that really messed with me, because then I was contemplating, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why do I just sit here and lay on this couch and do this all day? Like, why is that my life? Like, why don't I go and actually live this life I'm dreaming of? Which, I don't know how going and working a regular 6 to 2 job and going to the gym and hanging out with friends is like anything like crazy. It was really just like a basic normal life. But that's what I was thinking in that moment, is that that was the dream life and that I'm not going and achieving that. Meanwhile, that's literally what I do every single day. So that made me contemplate like what I was doing. It made me feel like a failure. It made me feel like I'm not going anywhere in life. I don't really remember too much else after that. I just remember laying there trying so hard not to think of anything. All I could think about was that the time was going by so slow. My heart, literally, I could feel it beating in my chest, and it did not feel good. It felt like I needed an ambulance, like somebody needed to help me breathe. Somebody needed to help me like regulate my heart. Like I felt like I was gonna die, and it was like this really slow process to death. And it was really scary. The next morning, I don't even know if I really slept because I felt exhausted. I felt like I got hit by a truck, and I had to like get up fairly early because my other friend had to go, I think it was to work. So we all had to get up and leave relatively around the same time. And she lived fairly far from me. So when I got up and got into my car, it's like I didn't even feel safe enough to drive. I felt like I was still high. So I just remember like sitting in my car for a while, like definitely remembered who I was when I woke up. I remembered who all my friends were. I remembered my life. I remembered how to get home. I remembered what my car was. So I must have fallen asleep at some point, but I don't really think I slept that well because of all the anxiousness and the anxiety. And by the time I got home, like that was it. I knew I was never going to smoke weed again. I was never gonna have an edible again. I was never going to ever touch that chocolate again. And that really made me think about how that stuff really can mess with you. And like everybody else was fine. I think there was like 5 of us, and I was the only person that had a bad experience. But it was a really pivotal moment for me. Not that I was really smoking much to begin with. It wasn't really part of like my everyday lifestyle, but it definitely pushed me to not do it again. And it has definitely been like a fear for me now. Like I don't want to smoke it. I don't want to experience that again. I don't want that anxiousness. I don't even like how it makes me feel. I don't like when I feel down. I don't like when I feel like slumped over, like I can't do anything. I don't like that. I'm so up in my head thinking of things that I'm like not even paying attention to the things around me. Like I don't like that. I would prefer all of the chaotic ADHD inattentiveness in my brain over being that mellowed out, because I feel out of control. And I don't like how inward it brings me, because I feel like I become so quiet and so like locked up inside my own body and in my own head that I can't do anything. I feel like I'm chained up like a prison, and I don't like it. So I can laugh about it now, because when I think back to it, it's like, that's crazy. Like how does that make you think that your real life isn't real and that you're just this drug addict that lays on a couch and just Like how? How does that even happen? Especially for something that is legal. You know what I mean? Like that is illegal. It was a legal chocolate bar. It was a legal amount that you're allowed to sell. And like, it's not like we got it from some sketchy place. Like Canada allows you to buy that and digest it. And I do know a few other people when I've told this story that they have had kind of similar situations, maybe not like so intense, but they also, other people I tell me that I took too much for my body size, and that's probably why. And if I had one, I probably wouldn't have been like so freaked out, but I don't even want to try just one. I don't ever want to do it again. And no shame to anybody who does do it or needs it or loves it or whatever. This is just my personal experience and how that affected me. But I also hope that this can maybe bring some awareness, because if you are considering it, there is a possibility that you could react bad. Not everybody is going to react good to it. Just because it's legal doesn't mean that it's good for you, doesn't mean that it's going to have the same effect on you as it does maybe to the person beside you. Like, you really never know how it will affect you. And now that I'm older, it's like I think about that stuff with everything. There is a risk to everything that you do, and you have to look at the risk and the reward. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow my Instagram as well. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye.